Oh, hello. Well, it's the end of the day, and that means I must go over the highlights, define anything interesting at all that happened, any new insights, any new thoughts that are steering in my mind. I suppose I'll start with what I ate. In the morning, I had a two bacons, scrambled eggs, in a croissant sandwich with some mayo. And that was quite good. My mom scrambled the eggs. I cooked the bacon. She cut the bread. I toasted the bread. I put mayonnaise on the bread. And then I put the eggs and bacon on the bread. We watched a new Y-Files. It was called something about Project Pegasus, the CIA's time child soldiers. It was basically a wacky science fiction story about how the CIA used a Nikola Tesla time machine to send children back in time to do various missions for the CIA. And it's about as crazy and wacky as you would imagine it would be. I will say, though, the way AJ described the story definitely would stir my interest in seeing a feature film based off of those events. It would make a good sci fi tale. For lunch, I had a McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese and bacon, and a large fry, and a large Diet Dr. Pepper. I will say, while I was eating it, by the end of my meal eating, my heart felt like kind of like it was getting pinched in a slightly painful way, and I felt like I had to take deeper breaths. So that's probably definitely not a good thing. Um, I think my body was trying to tell me to stop eating that because I was going to get a heart attack if I had one more bite. Thankfully, no heart attack, but it is something that I definitely need to be more aware of for sure. For dinner, it was quite a smorgasbord. I had this Korean barbecue beef that our family friend gave me. I microwaved it in the microwave for 30 seconds, covered. I had a salad my mom made me, which was a spring mix with mini toasts, provolone cheese, raspberries, a special honey mustard dressing, and so much more. And then our family friend gave me some chicken wings that she got for free from the Korean restaurant. At least I think that's what she said. I ended up heating those in the air fryer and they were alright, but nothing I would really write home about. And then for dessert, I had one of those Haagen-Dazs almond ice cream chocolate covered bars with vanilla in the middle. I gotta be honest, I feel like I'm getting thicker as time is going on. Probably due to my negligence in my diet. I definitely need to take this into consideration. But the problem is, I split the grocery bill with my mom and our family friend. And sometimes my mom chooses things that are just really fattening or sugary. and I also choose them with her, so I'm part of the um, processed sugar club as well. But I'm starting to notice the effects it's taking on my health in terms of, again, that whole heart issue I had earlier today, as well as just feeling more and more uncomfortable in my own body. And yeah, it's got to stop. Well, anyways, let's move on. What else happened? I was driven home to work by my mom, and one sec, I got an itchy ankle. Of course, I took a shower today. This was a quick 10-minute shower. I didn't shave my face, so if I look a little more frizzy today than I normally do, now you know why. Yeah, and the hair grows right here, which I'm not a huge fan of, because the more long the hair on my face gets, the more like what's a good way to put this? Wild I look, I guess you could say. And yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I shave this area. It just gets too crazy for me. Now, at work, it was a pretty interesting time. One of the more interesting encounters I had at work was when I was confronted by one of the long-standing cashiers there about what I was to a cashier that used to work there. And this cashier and me, we used to like say all kinds of corny jokes together, and he'd say silly jokes to me, and I would laugh really hard because I thought they were hilarious. And sometimes he even would tell me like stories about like adventures he went on with his family and things like that. And I did get his phone number, and interestingly enough, it was right before he was taken out of the store due to a altercation between him and a customer. But that's a whole other story I'm not going to get into. And he's been away for a while now, but whenever I have a good, like, funny joke that I can think of, I usually, like, send it. And I mean, I don't send it a whole lot. I think I've only done it, like, 2 or 3 times max, but yeah, I don't really like have any kind of like deep like conversations about what's going on through the text messages. I just kind of, I don't know. I only text when I like think I have something interesting to say, I guess, if that makes any sense. But the cashier was basically in a way confronting me by saying, why don't you regularly text or call this person? Aren't they important to your life? And I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm really bad when it comes to contacting people through online or text, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's because I like to overcomplicate things in my head, and like I worry like, do I even have anything to say that's actually interesting, like in this conversation, I guess? Or what should I say? I don't know what I should say. I don't know. I guess I let the whole uncertainty of what to even talk about overcrowd my mind, and that kind of takes me away from getting a conversation started. And so like I end up not doing that. And I guess that's not a great reason, but that's my reason. And I don't know. I just have never been that good of a texter or a person who emails that well. I just, honestly, I just really like to keep to myself, and then, like, when I do interact, I prefer doing it in person instead of digitally, if that makes sense. Because I can see the person, and I can feel their presence because we're in a real environment, and I just prefer that more if I'm going to be speaking with someone. I don't know. I hope any of this makes sense. It's just how I do things, I guess. But yeah, that's what I told him, and he said, "All right." So he seemed to understand. So that was probably the most interesting thing that happened at work in terms of like a confrontation / conversation. Anything else? I was helping like this group of old folks out to their car, and there was like this older gentleman who it seemed like he was like his mind wasn't I don't know, it seemed like he may have had a form of dementia, because like he wanted to like take charge even though like his female cohorts told him to stop doing things because they were afraid like he was gonna hurt himself. Um, yeah, he would just like try pushing the car, and they would tell me, no, he's going to push the car, not you. And he kind of had this smile on his face throughout the whole ordeal. And I remember when I was leaving, he said like, "Can you believe these ladies?" Yeah, that was quite interesting for sure. Can I think of anything else? No, I don't think I can. Um, I guess I could say that when I was on my way home, because my car's starter is not performing right now, and we'll be taking the car to the car mechanic tomorrow morning around 7. It's currently 11:51, so I'm trying to get this going and released, this video. I needed to walk back home. I got a drive to work, but when I called my mom to ask for a ride, she said, she asked if I could walk because she was eating, so I was like, okay. So I walked. As I was walking, I was listening to various like different frequency musics, just stuff that was like vibe setting, I guess, for just solitude. And yeah, then I got a call when I was fairly close to the house, from our family friend being my mom letting me know that our family friend was going to pick me up. So I was like, all right, sounds good. And I got picked up by our family friend, which was nice. I talked about what I ate. Oh yeah, I also drank Coke Zero and A&W Zero Sugar. Then I was watching a video by UAP Group, which is a UAP research-related YouTube channel that dives deep into various topics relating to the UAP subject, or UFOs for people who are unfamiliar with the acronym UAP. unidentified aerial phenomenon or unidentified flying objects. That was a pretty interesting documentary, but there was a lot of information there. It's really hard to kind of break that down into a more simple to follow way, I suppose you could say. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Anything else? I went outside to meditate for about 45 minutes. That was pretty nice. I watched a Try Not to Laugh challenge on YouTube because I was bored and wanted to see if something could make me laugh, and there were a few things that actually got a few chuckles out of me, so that was nice. One of them was like a boy trying to sip milk through a toilet paper roll instead of a regular straw, and he basically inhaled the whole cup, but because it was too much for him to handle, he blew it out and then it exploded in his face. It shot out of his, projectile shot out of his face. It was crazy and funny. That was probably one of the more standout ones. I don't remember any other ones. Brushed my teeth. I took my vitamins. And I started watching Dan Dingle video YouTube. He's a YouTuber who messes around with AI voices and songs and things like that. And it was pretty funny. I got a chuckle out of that. Then I was listening to an article about how to form better habits. And basically the number one point was, as you're doing the habit, you shouldn't stop and think about what you're doing as you're doing it, so you can kind of redirect your amygdala, or the part of your brain that's like the executive thinker, to doing something more productive. So for example, instead of watching another YouTube video, work on a deep research project. I'm like, okay, I can see the vision. And then I was listening to another article of a 103-year-old man who got diagnosed with cancer at age 69. It was told he only had 3 months to live, but instead of going down the probiotic and probiotic route and also getting subjected to radiation treatment, he instead chose to change his diet completely to more of a healthy whole food lifestyle. And he ended up beating the odds, and the antioxidants from the food he was eating got him to live for a very long time. He's still alive right now. He even did 10-mile marathons all the way up until age 98. And even though he stopped doing marathons, he's still doing bench presses and pull-ups and push-ups. So, yeah, this guy's an unstoppable fellow who, and it wasn't just some miracle pill or some magic thing that happened that made him better. It was just slow but deliberate understanding of what his body needs and what it doesn't need, and doing the necessary activities or decisions to do what was right for his body. And I think that's something that we can all do. Yeah. And that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to send this video into the internets on YouTube. And I'm going to go to bed. Going to get my car fixed tomorrow morning. And then after that, who knows, I really need to start scheduling my days out so I can get the most out of my days off instead of just farting around. All right. Goodbye, everybody.